Clipper Street doing Crafty Hour 68. Good morning, everybody. It is July 24th, 10 a.m. We're going to start. Just got on here a couple of minutes early. Good morning, everybody. Getting everything set up. Hello, hello. We are live. Hello, good morning. I can see someone's watching. Good morning, it's Joe here at Clipper Street. Welcome, welcome. We are here. Good morning, Sarah Ann. We are here to do Crafty Hour number 68. I really had to check to make sure I had the number right. Good morning. Let's see, where are we? Clipper Street. We are live. Here we go. Okay. Is that us? That's not me. It doesn't know that I'm live. Here we go. Woohoo! Hello. Good morning, Trish. Good morning, Tracy. I see all the peoples now. Woohoo! Good morning, everybody. We are here for Crafty Hour number 68. I have some good old Christmas business here for you for a good Christmas in July session. Good morning. Good morning, Lorraine. Hello, everybody. I hope I am on top of this. I've been busy kidding for all sorts of up and coming classes, so had to shift gears there for a bit and get my Crafty Hour stuff business ready, and here we go. Here we go. Very excited about this. I love Studio Light. I love Studio Light Grunge so much. I was very happy when Deanna said, hey, do you want to do this Crafty Hour? I was just like, oh yeah, we're doing this. So I've got a couple of cards to do for you today, kind of like the last Crafty Hour I did where I've got 2 cards, and then I've got a bonus card where I'll show you all the business, and then I will post some measurements and a photo into the Crafty Hour creations for you. So if you want to do the bonus card, you can go from there. Hello, Lynn. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It does look good, Julie, doesn't it? It's just so much good stuffs. So we've got a die cut paper pad, and we've got a pattern paper pad. This is actually the backgrounds paper pad that came in your kit. Like, so much paper and die cuts, it was a little bit overwhelming, along with a really good core die cut to keep in your stash. This is labels number 15, and it is a fabulous square shape to keep in your stash for all crafting. So that is a really good die cut to keep. So just checking my video, seems pretty good. I'm in good positioning. Good morning, Keitha. Good morning. Hello, Courtney. Okay. I hope everybody had a chance to check out the homework that I had posted from Sunday. So there's been quite a few days in between for everybody to hunt and gather all of their goodies. I know it's a good die. Hey, Tracy. Ooh, it's a good one. Any kits left? Nope. Sorry, Gloria. This one sold out very quickly. A lot of the extra goodies sold out quickly as well. I left the phone on in here. Excuse me a second. And I missed out on some of the add-ons. Let's see here. It's 10 o'clock here, and that means that the phone immediately starts ringing. So I forgot to turn the phone off. Shame on me. Okay, so add-ons are pretty much all gone. I think we've got a couple of stencils left. We've had more kind of rolling in on a regular basis to fulfill all the Google Doc orders. So we're still fulfilling those. But we do have some extra paper pads and die cuts. So if that tickles your fancy, I don't have a kit that comes with the die. Those were all sold out. But if you were still interested in some of the items, I do have paper pads. These are $14.99. And I do have some of the die cut pads too. So very easy to grab a different type square from your stash if you wanted to follow along. I mean, we always kind of encourage everybody to grab what you have, right? So $11.99, $14.99 if you would like some of those. Just jot it down. You can send us an email or you can give us a call after the crafty hour. I won't be taking any orders from here, but I don't have any of the dies left. I've just got some paper and the die cuts, as well as a couple stencils and things, but not enough to sneeze at. We really don't have a whole lot left. So I'm gonna start by getting this business out of the way, but not too far because I need it. These were the papers that I had asked you to put aside so that they were ready to go. Kind of neutral. I love this plaid, so I pulled that one out to use for our first card. And I really, really love this kind of stencil-y wood background. It's a really good neutral. It's got some really good layers to the building of this paper. You can see snowflakes, you can see music notes, you can see the wood grain. It's just a really good kind of neutral background. So these are the types of papers that kind of go with all of the papers that are in here. They're the kind of ones that kind of tie things together. Some really good rich browns. The reds and the greens are just really deep and beautiful. So awesome paper and loads of it. So what was really great about this crafty hour is when it comes down to splitting what I'm going to do and what Courtney's going to do, there is just so much. So we didn't really have to worry about if I use this or she used that, or because we have loads of paper. I think 3 sheets of all, and then there was 2 sheets of every die cut page. So yeah, we are in business. So you can make multiples if you want of the same card. Okay, so this is going to be my first card. I did use the square die in this one. It kind of is a scene building with one of the little cabins and some of the trees. And the front is a little bit different. It doesn't have a full front. I've just got a little strip up here that's going to hold that die cut shape. A couple layers of that die cut shape so that we can enjoy the beautiful pattern paper peeking from behind. I use the shape again to create an area for my message area there. So lots of sort of fun element to that. And my second card that we're going to play with today is this one here. And we're going to build up this snowman guy with a little sled on the side. And we're going to use some acetate. So acetate is really difficult to photograph, but I did put it in the visuals and the explanation to have a piece of 4 by 5.5 acetate so that we can create this fun front of this card. Again, so that you can see some of that pretty pattern paper and everything peeking in from behind. So that is my second card. These are the ones we're going to do. This is my bonus card. It is an acetate card that has all of some great layers here and some great die cut composition for the front so that we can have a floating kind of vibe to this card. So that is my bonus card. So I'm just going to put that one aside. I'm going to put this little happy snowman guy aside. I love how his arms kind of stretch out so you can put something in here like he's holding something, or it looks like he's just going to come and hug you. Anyway, so we're going to start with this card here. So I've got all my pieces kind of set aside here, and we are going to die cut one thing so that I can utilize those spellbinder dies. Just a little bit more here from what we've got prepared. Now, like, why do I have stars in here? But I did put some stars in there. So I've got 3 trees. Let's see how we can arrange this here. I've got 3 trees from that one sheet. These were all on the same sheet as the snowman, actually. That one bottom cabin, it looks like a cabin to me. I'd like to stay there. I really like this open roof, which was provoking to put something there from the other sheet that had all the words and the signs and all of the different text elements. So I made it a Santa's toy shop. And so that just was very inviting just to have something in there. And there's so many little accenty little die cuts on every page. There's little bows, there's little stars, there's just so many little elements where clustering and grouping things together just comes very easily and naturally with all of these things. Love all the little presents and all the little stars. And they're all on this neutral type of colored paper. So even though the die cuts are not chopped right to the edge, it's totally fine because it just kind of all goes together when you use the papers that match. So that's why I went with the neutral paper too. It just all really flowed together really well. So I've got those there. I got a couple of stars for the inside. So I'm gonna pop those out so that I'm not wondering where they are. And I got some options there. So we're gonna start with building our card base. And I used a white glitter. You don't have to. You can use, if you want to pull in a different type of colored glitter that maybe matches the paper or a foil. I just went with something that was quite simple. So I went with a white glitter. I often use white glitter or silver glitter. So I thought this was just a really nice kind of gentle ease into having a specialty paper. So this piece of paper here was in the homework. It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is the closed size of an A2 size card. So that's going to be the base of our card here. And then we're going to build this strip onto the front of it. Now this strip is 1 3/4 by 6. So we're going to give this a little score at 1/2 inch. Now let's see here. Let's move some of this out of the way. And let's get a piece of paper so we can write things. All right, so I'm going to score my strip at just a 1/2 inch so that I have a little lip. 1/2 inch. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so if you have a scoreboard, you're just gonna put it in and you're gonna score at 1/2 inch. I'm putting it in here and scoring with my score blade on my trimmer. Carefully not to choose my cutting blade. Sometimes that's not an easy habit. So there you go, just a little 1/2 inch there. And I'm gonna fold that. And I'm gonna borrow this bone folder here, which is amazing. I'm gonna fold it back and forth both ways so that that score is nice and loosey-goosey and just goes back and forth with lots of ease. And I'm gonna take some nice strong sookwang, just a couple of pieces here, just to go across. If I had a wider one, I would just use one piece, but I got a thinner one today for all sorts of reasons. So I'm just gonna build up 2 pieces there. And I'm just gonna put my strip here in the center, the best possible eyeballing that I can, and then I'm just gonna fold it forward. So lining up that score line with the edge, and then just fold it forward. And if anything ends up being a little bit too long, you can always just trim it off the bottom. I can see that there's just a tiny little hair there that's a little bit long. I can always trim that off. All right, so just give that a little bit of a burnish just to make sure that's nice and secure. And then I'm gonna start layering up my layers. I do have my white my white glitter already cut here. And that's cut to a standard 4 by 5 1/4. So I've got a little white border all the way around. I can add that on there. Can it just get, let's just use some liquid glue. That's nice and quick. This is Crafty Hour, Joe, not Crafty Morning. Let's go quick. Okay. So this is 4 by 5 1/4 piece of glitter. It's got paper backing on it, so I'm pretty happy with just using a liquid glue on the back there. I don't need anything stronger. That Nuvo's gonna hold up nice and nice and strong. And then I'm going to go to my plaid paper, because that's the one I want to see peeking through. Now, of course, at this point, you can use any of the pattern papers. So my cutting of the plaid is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. So that's just going to be a little bit smaller to fit inside the glitter paper. Very simple measurements that we normally use to layer up on A2 size cards. So I'll go to the 3 3/4 first. So then I've got a nice big chunk here left over for something else, or a second card of this if I want to create one. 3 3/4, and then my second measurement is the 5. Go to the 5, and then I'll put my scrap with the other one. And now, I love inking edges. I really, really do. So at this point, if you were an edge inker, you would definitely want to either pull in a little bit of maybe a nice dark, rich brown, or maybe a little bit of black, just to kind of ink up those edges. But today, I'm going to be a big brave girl, and I'm just going to just put it on there nice and clean. Have you ever heard of such a crazy thing? Every now and then. Every now and then. There we go. Of course, Julie, yeah. And then you get some good ideas for some different types of cards and things, right? Like that's what Crafty Hour is all about. You can just go pull out some of your stuff today and go make something with the same design, only just put some different things on it, right? Okay, so now I'm going to decorate my strip. So that needs a little bit of glitter paper as well, and it also needs some pattern paper. So I do have my glitter paper already. That was part of the homework. This is just a little bit smaller than this, so it is 1 1/2 by 5 1/4. All right, a little bit of gluey glue on there. Now again, going to the pattern papers, I can choose whatever pattern paper I want. I was tempted to do a dark green because the trees are green and all of that. So yeah, you can switch it up if you don't want to do a neutral like I did. You can switch it up. But I'm going to use this lovely wood grain. And doesn't matter how you cut it, you can go with the grains, you can go against the grains. It's up to you. I'm going to go with the grains. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller than the glitter paper. And so this one is going to be just a little bit smaller. So we're going to go wood. And this is going to be 1 1/4 by 5. Very simple measurements. No funky measurements. 1 1/4, nice and long. That we're going to use on another card, so I'm going to leave that on that side. And then swiffer over and then cut it at the 5, just like we did the plaid. Boop. All right. Very, very tempted to ink my edges, but I will refrain. There we go. There we go. A little bit of glue. Gonna just center that on there. So now I have a really nice base for some of my layerings. Okay, so for this guy, I said have one of these. This one is the largest of the squares, and this is just done in a white cardstock. And I said have one of these. Now, if you don't want to have one of these, if you think, yeah, I'm just kind of tired of that neutral, Joe, you can do a green or you can do a brown. It's completely up to you. If you want to switch it up and just have something a little bit different, that's totally up to you. I'm going to stick with the game plan and go with that one, just to give you a couple of different visuals there of, you know, some choices. And then I thought when I got to this point, I would actually really like to have some of the glitter in there too. So in the homework, I said, hey, have a piece of glitter if you so endeavor to use some glitter. That was 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, so that we can cut some of the dies here. So I'm just going to put that up there so it doesn't get too squishy. I'm going to bring in this old clunker here. This is a good machine. Just because she's old and not beautiful doesn't mean she doesn't work well. So I'm going to put my glitter paper on here. I'm going to pull out 2 of the dies, the largest and the second largest, and I'm going to create a frame. Now, because I used the second largest one for the pattern paper already, it's going to be the same size. So that means that my pattern paper, this will just nestle in here nicely. And I'm just going to line it up so that it has spacing on the inside of the frame here, kind of even all the way around, best I can. And then I'm going to pop that through. If you know me and you take any of my classes, you know I just kind of have a thing for frames. Love them. Love layering up a couple. Love having something inside. Love creating them for different shakers and things. So that inside piece we're actually going to use, and we're just going to pop out this frame. Let's get that done all the way around. Poppity pop, pop, pop. I mean, this is useful, but I think it's just going to go in the garbage. Could be something, because we're all creative. Okay, so these pieces here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this frame and I'm going to put it, I'm going to glue this one first on the edge. This one first on the edge, just a little bit of liquid glue all the way around. I could pop this up too. That would be kind of cool, just to have a little bit more dimension, almost like a picture frame on the wall to encase all of the little dies and the little scene that I'm going to build on the inside. So there we go, just line that up with the one in the back. So that just gives me a really nice kind of sturdy, beefy piece to layer things on. It's nice and sturdy. And this one's just going to nestle right into the inside, kind of like paper piecing things back together. Let's go this way. I don't know why, but let's go that way. All right, just nestle all that in there, and just all of the outlining and the grooves that the die makes just kind of gives it a really pretty polished look. I can go that way too if I wanted, but I'm going to stick with square. Stick with square. And I'm going to center this on here, and I'm going to pop it up so that it's lifted from that strip just a little bit. So that's an easy application of just some foam underneath in that center area. Just rip some of that. And rip some of that. There we go. Got white foam today because we've got some nice lighter cards. And then I'll just place that on there in the center the best that I can. Always the best that I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. And now I'm going to start building up my little scene here. I've got a really nice tall tree. I got a shorter tree, but I'm going to stretch it out so that they're a little bit even. I've got a house, and I've got another small tree that I'm going to nestle into the front of that cabin so it's all nice and cozy together. So those pieces, I'm going to also use some foam tape. Doesn't matter if it sticks out from the top, all that, it's totally fine. I usually find that with these die cuts that pop out, the little nubbies from pulling from the paper, sometimes I don't really like those, and I'll just go around and maybe trim a few, just do it with my scissors or my fingernail and just kind of break them down a little bit so they disappear. Especially with grunge paper like this, it's really easy to kind of get rid of those things without worrying about it looking a little distressed. All right, I got a little foam tape for the back of this tall guy. There we go. Stretch him out to the side here. And I'm gonna tuck a piece of foam tape in between these two trees. In between like this. And that's gonna grab hold of my house. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna stick this guy onto the front here. This one I'm gonna be a little bit more detailed about where this foam tape is gonna go. I'm gonna put a little bit on the bottom because it's gonna hang off the bottom. And I'm gonna put a little bit in here so it doesn't all cave in. Here we go. Where does that need to be? Maybe I need to do the same thing and just tuck this under here. There we go. And then just cover it up. All right, so that one is kind of laying on top of the house. And then if you need to, you can always just pop that one up too, so you have lots of dimension. But I am gonna add another layer here. I am gonna put the toy shop and the Merry Christmas. There they are hiding underneath there. The Merry Christmas was from the sheet that has all sorts of different text on it. And it's all different colors and different shapes. And then you have another sheet of text that is all black and white, all different sayings and things that would be good for art journaling as well, and scrapbooking, mini books, all sorts of good stuff. I'm going to use a foam strip here so it's nice and thin. Just a little strip. There we go. There we go. So I'll just stick that across there. Multiple places that I could put a little Merry Christmas along the bottom here as well, if I just wanted to raise that up a little bit. So it all depends on kind of what sentiment you're going with. But I like those skinny little ones because they kind of fit in lots of different places. Just a little bit of a square there for my Santa's toy shop. And that is complete. There's my little scene for the front. Now I did jazz this up a little bit on the outside with some of the Stardust stickles. I use this a lot, and it is kind of a go-to for me. With the thinner paper like this, you have to kind of avoid things that are really, really wet. So yeah, going with the, I don't want to say Wink Estella or the Nouveau glitter pens, those work really well. But you don't want to spray them and make them all warpy. So I tend to use the stickles on these guys to jazz them up a bit. But the paper's so lovely and muted that that glitter really, really pops. So just a fun design. On the inside, you can take that glitter paper layer that came out of the frame, and you can use that for a completely different project if you want. Or you can just flip it over and have it as a layer for the inside of your card as well. Or you can have it glitter side up and then use a smaller nested one in there for your message area. But I kind of wanted to leave it ample area as much as possible to either stamp a greeting or have lots of room to write something. I've taken a couple little stars there. There are a gajillion of them in that die cut pad, and I've put one at the top of the bottom of there. You can also just have a nice little extra tree in here or something, but I would definitely hide it behind your die cut square there, your label shape. So that is card number 1. I hope that is inspiring to you to pull out some of your nested dies. Doesn't have to be a square, it can be all sorts of different shapes there. And then create your own little strip of a card front and go from there. Okay, so we are going to move on to card number 2. Let's get rid of this and we'll start fresh. get rid of this and start fresh. It's happening. Everything's just kind of going everywhere. Okay, let's put this here. And we'll put the dies back in the package. I mean, it's just so awesome just to get the dies included with the Crafty Hours. They're just a really good thing to build up your nested collection. Okay, this is my card number 2, as I said in the beginning, or if you've just joined in. We're gonna do like a floating acetate front here. So we're gonna start with, where are my pieces here? Oh, here we are. I've got a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock. That's going to be our card base. We're going to do a bunch of things to that. I've got a piece of acetate that is 4 by 5 1/2. We're going to trim that down a bit too, just to make life easier. I have a tree. It's just a naked tree. There's all sorts of tree choices in the die cuts, which is grand. There's ones with ornaments, there's ones with snow, there's ones with lights. But I'm going to use that on the inside to really jazz up the pattern paper in there, so it peeks out through the acetate and looks really pretty. I've got my happy snowman. This is the larger of the two. Looks like he's going to come grab you, give you a hug with his crazy mittens. I love the character. I really enjoy these diecast. All right, I like this little sled. I don't think I think that's a visual. If you wanted to find the little sled, I've got a little teddy here with a Santa hat. There was 2 of them, and this is the smaller of the 2. You can definitely use the bigger one though. Either way, they still fit on the sled. And then I've got one of the little presents. And so I'm going to just make a little fun cluster beside the snowman here on the card. There's so many things that you could add on there, but I wanted to make sure that some of the acetate was still kind of visible on its own so that you could see through the card and not completely cover everything up. And then I've got a bunch of stars here on the front. Now I haven't picked mine out yet, but we can do that time permitting. And then I use the sayings, season's greetings. And then like I said, there is lots of strip words in the back, and you have 2 sheets of them. So you can choose now, you can choose the same, or you can do something completely different with something you have at home. But that is the one that I used, and oh, here it is here, Christmas greetings. I like this one. It was a good length in comparison to his arms. I did trim it up a little bit just to have a banner tail on the edge. But you know, I just wanted to kind of make it my own. There's lots of really fun things on here to use where you can definitely incorporate, you know, something completely different. But yeah, lots of choices in there. And it doesn't have to be the snowman. You can use the reindeer. You can use one of these awesome, really buff Santas. These are awesome. And then just kind of make it a little bit more masculine by having some of these little airplanes and trains and things, you know. So fun stuff. All right, I think I do have a couple little stars in here. Let's pull those out so we can this is a 1 inch by 4 1/4, and we have our card base. Now we're gonna get lots of little pieces from this card base. I'm seeing that the video is a little bit choppy, so hopefully we're good to go still. Let me just excuse me here, let me just plug in here for a second. I know my battery's completely loaded and full, but I'm just gonna see if that helps. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it. Thank you, Gail. I'm just getting myself situated here. Let's get a piece of paper and we'll talk about scoring and cutting. So this is your standard steno style card base, 4 1/4 by 11. So my first score for this is going to be at 5 1/2, just to get it scored in half. That's how my brain works. Let's make it into a card first. So score at 5 1/2. All right, so I'm going to go to the 5 1/2. I've got my blade out of the way there, and I'm just going to score. It goes away. I hope so. All right. Might just be a busy morning on the internet, right? I'm going to get that nice and burnished. There we go. And then from that point, I'm going to chop off half of the front. Half of 5 1/2 is going to be 2 3/4. Right, 2 3/4 and 2 3/4 is 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut off 2 3/4 off of my front. Cut it right off so that I have a short front now. Okay. I've got some pieces here left. I'm going to cut, let's see here, I'm going to cut 1 inch. So I've cut 2 3/4. My second cut is I'm going to cut 1 inch off of what is left off of my 2 3/4 piece here, right? So I'm going to use up all these little bits. Cut off 1 inch here, just 1 inch, get it in there, cut it off. All right, so that gives me 2 of these now because I've already cut one. All right, so I'm just cutting this, scored at 5 1/2. When I scored it in 5 1/2, I've got my little front here. I'm going to cut off half of the front, which is 2 3/4. That leaves me a nice little short end there. I'm going to take that piece and then I'm going to cut off 1 inch from what is left over there. Okay. So from that point, I've got my piece of acetate here. How big is my piece of acetate? My piece of acetate is just a little bit too big. I would like this to be, 1 inch. Cut. My acetate, which was your homework, is 4 by 5 1/2. Mine's a little bit too big. It's 4 1/4. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off there. If you followed the homework, yours will be the right size. Mine's just a little bit too big. So there we go. There's my acetate. So my acetate fits from top to bottom, which is fine. But working with acetate sometimes is a little bit tricky. Gluing and adding it to paper can sometimes be a little bit tricky. It wants to kind of stick down, maybe sometimes before you're ready and such. So I'm going to just make this a tiny bit shorter, just to make things a little bit easier for myself. So I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch off the top. You will do the same because this will be you cutting off the piece that was requested in the homework, just to make it a little bit shorter, just a little bit shorter, just for the ease of making it work. Okay, so I do have a 2 1 inch strips here. Okay, and one of them is going to go into the front, and I'm going to tear one of them, just so that kind of looks a little bit more snow friendly, and just supporting on both sides and then just tearing a little bit away. All right, there we go, just like that. So I need this piece here, and I'm going to attach that to the front. It's going to be a little bit longer on side to side. All right, so when I attach this, I'm going to do it with a little bit of foam tape, And I'm just going to make it as centered the best I can. And the best way to do that is to line it up on this card base here to make sure that everything is centering nicely. Now, this is going to keep wanting to do this. And so to be helpful and help me get all of the pieces together, I'm just going to put a little bit of removable adhesive just to keep that closed while I put the acetate on the front. Okay, so I'm going to line this up here, and I'm going to bring my acetate right to the bottom because that's going to be my card front. I'm going to line it up nicely side to side, and then this is just going to help me sort of guide my pieces being attached. I'm going to utilize what's there to help me. Now my foam tape is probably the perfect width for the piece of white paper that I have here. So I'm just going to put that right close to the bottom, just like so, and line up my corners and the bottom so that that goes on nice and straight and nice and flat. Just like so. So that's kind of just make sure that that's going to line up the center from the side. I'm kind of put that aside for a second, and I'm going to cut some pattern paper. I'm going to go back to the wood paper. This is the predominant piece that I'm going to use for the background. And I'm just going to cut a strip of wood that is 4 by 8. It's already 8 inches. And 4 inches is the width that I'm going to work with. So you can choose, you know, like which part of the wood pattern you want to keep within your card. You like this kind of dark, deep part of the wood that has a snowflake up at the top. All right, so there's my piece, 4 by 8. It's already 8 inches, so I don't have to worry about a second cut. And now I'm going to cut some pieces for my card. Now I would like to have, there it is here. I would like to have a nice chunk at the top that's going to go from the top edge to the cut edge here. And I already know that that is 2 3/4. So my first cut is going to be 2 3/4. I was going to write a 5. I don't know why, but it's 2 3/4. So that's my first one, 2 3/4. There we go. So that's going to be for the top. I'm going to grab a second one that is 1 inch again. I would like a little bit at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it there at the bottom, but I've got a little bit at the bottom. So I'm going to do a 1 inch cut there. There we go. And then I got a whole bunch left over. We're going to use that as well. So we've got 3 pieces in total. A 2 3/4 by 4, a 1 by 4, and then whatever the leftovers are. Whatever the leftovers are. All right, so what we've got so far is this business here. So I'm going to now attach my acetate so that I can attach the rest of my pattern pieces now. So I didn't go all the way to the top here just to make it a little bit easier because lining up acetate is sometimes hard. If I just fixate on the bottom and keeping that nice and lined up, then I don't really have to worry about it being lined up at the top here because it's not going to show and it's not going to go right to the top of the edge here, so that if it is a little crooked and I have a little bit of acetate sticking out, then I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to take a little bit of Sookwang because Sookwang's going to hold the other way. Can I move my pen? Yes, I sure can. There you go, Evelyn. Okay, there we go. So I'm just firmly is like square tape. It's the same. It's just so nice and strong. So then my line at bottom, I'm just going to let that go. So my side to side is nice and even at the top, but I don't really have to worry about the top. And I'm going to cover that with some pattern paper now. So right from edge to edge, top, here is where I'm going to place my pattern paper. And I'm just going to make sure that it's lined up side to side the same over the acetate so that it covers that. I'm going to also use Sookwang for that. However, I'm going to put it right on my card base. There we go. I'm going to put a strip there. No worries, Evelyn. I'm paying attention there to the comments. Okay, so I've got a piece of Sookwang here. I've got a piece of Sookwang there. So now I'm just going to lay my pattern aligned with the side here, let it drop, and then that will grab my pattern paper there. So I just want to clean up the inside. Oh, I've got my removable adhesive there holding that down nicely. Just going to rub that away and dust it off. So now I want to clean up this for the inside so that when I open my card, that doesn't look all messy with the foam tape sticking there. So that's why I've have the extra 1-inch strip here so that I can hide that away. But I'm going to put some pretty pattern paper on it as well, just across like that. So it looks the same as the front. There we go. Come on, you can do it. A little bit of liquid glue here. Come on, liquid glue. It's not happy. There we go. Now it's happy. A little bit of liquid glue. And so that's going to show through the acetate, and I will add it to there. So I'll take a little bit of Sookwang. You can use a tape runner if you have one. Just going to load that up there. So you can do it this way and line it up, but I'm just going to keep it flat like this. Just make sure you're doing pattern side down and line it up. Sandwich that acetate in there, just like so. There we go. So that sticks out a little bit from the inside. I'm picking up all sorts of dust and things here on my acetate. Little bits of adhesive and all sorts of business. So that's that. It's a little bit of layering on the inside just to polish that up and so that we don't see the adhesive. Now you can build whatever you want onto the front. So I went with snowman, right? So I have to be very particular about kind of what's showing through, what's going on. There we go. I'm going to have a sled on the side here, and I'm just going to build from there. So I'm going to put a little bit of foam tape on his feet. Might be probably better to use some of these little tabs, these little squares in this smaller area down here. And then I can put a square up in his hat, because I know that that's going to be in the top area of the card. I'm just making a good old mess here. There we go. So I can tuck his feet in there like he's standing on the snow, and that's gonna hide my foam tape, I hope. I hope at this point. Yep, there we go, we're in business. So he's standing in the snow, and then I think I'm just gonna glue this guy flat down here underneath. Just put a little bit of liquid glue or a little strip of sukmang down there. But that should dry fine on the acetate. And then as I'm building my little bear and my little present on here, I'm just going to make sure the adhesive is going onto the sled only. A little bit of glue for my bear. It's nice with the liquid glue because you can kind of budget around a bit. I'm just going to trim my present a little bit, take off some of that extra edge that's around the outside, the image, and a little bit of liquid glue there, and then I'll just tuck them together, nestle them together, so I got a little grouping of 3 there. So there we go. And then my little Christmas greetings here, Christmas greetings. Can do a little banner tail. There we go. Just make it a little bit, dress it up a little bit instead of just having the strip on its own. Okay. There we go. A little bit of foam tape just going across his chest there so that I can pop that up. So it looks like he's presenting you some Christmas greetings. There we go. And then in this top area here, I thought this would be perfect to add a smothering of stars here. So I've got 3 white ones, 3 either red, and then some of the little gold ones. So there we go. All right, so I'm not going to do all the little stars. I'm just going to show you that. That is just going to take up the rest of my time here. But what I want to spend my time doing is showing you the inside here. Okay, so I do have some leftover paper to dress up my inside. So I can do that right underneath my score and attach that in. I don't even know what the measurement is, but it's just what we had left over from cutting. I know you love stars, Julie. So this little kit is loaded with them, absolutely loaded with them. So there's my pattern paper in the background. I'm going to take this little guy here and just have it at the bottom. I think this is pale enough that if I needed to write something, I could totally write something. And but if you want to have a message area down here to write something, you can. I'm just going to tear off this top here. This is going to peek through the acetate as well. It's a little bit taller than the 1-inch strip that's on the front. And I'm just going to make this into a pocket. You know, I love my pockets because I love sticking a little gift card in there. Little love note, little gift card, little something something. Right, so just gluing the 2 sides and the bottom, so I've got a little pocket there, and then I can take my tree, I can chop her in half. I can chop her in half with this guy. I can do it. I'm just going to find the stem of the tree, the trunk of the tree, chop it in half. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to overthink it. Just chop the tree in half. And then I'm going to glue that straight edge to the straight edge on the right and straight edge to the straight edge on the left. So that's going to be that. And then if you want, you can put an extra greeting at the bottom from the strips or the different text. Just tuck that under there so it's a little bit more polished. But I keep all of my inside things nice and flat. I don't pop them up, but I think just dressing it up with a couple of die cuts on the inside makes the inside more inviting. Here we go. So I can see that peeking through when I close it. A little bit of trees, that extra little layer of the white in the background, so it looks like there's more snow back there. And there we go. So that is my second card. Looks like we do have some time here, so maybe I will just stick my stars on here. And I also jazzed this one up with some of the stickles as well, where I've followed along the bottom here to accentuate the edge of the snow. And then I've gone into the snowman here and added a couple little accents. But on the pattern paper itself, I came in and added some of the stickles to the stars, and then I kind of dotted in between and made my own little kind of polka dot there. So that is that. But I'm just gonna pull out a few more little stars here and get this dressed up. Let's see what we got here. I really like these red ones. These red ones really kind of bring out the red in his jacket. So we can pop out a few of those as well. Thank you, Frida. Thanks, guys. Sorry about the internet, guys. I'm not really sure what's up. It's a little janky today. Hopefully you can still hear me. And then when the video is uploaded, hopefully it kind of smooths itself out. That's usually the case. Let's do a couple little stars on here. I like these little gold ones. These are really nice. So you can pop them up, you can leave them flat. I really liked the way they look kind of popped up, so went with that. Let's do another one of these. These kind of look like little origami ones where they've been folded up. So they've got kind of a neat texture to them. So when you pop them up, it kind of, you know, it's just got that extra level of dimension where you can definitely see the definition of them a little bit easier. There we go. Let's do a few of these. Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you, thank you. I was really pushing myself not to go like full-on grunge with this. I wanted to try to do something a little bit more clean, just to show that this type of product can go in all sorts of different directions. You don't always need to have grungy be grungy. You can just take some of the elements and polish them up a little bit and make them a little bit different. Ooh, these small ones fit behind the small ones. Ooh, that's exciting. There we go. Oh, let's get these last few on here and we will say farewell. Hello, hello, Debbie. There we go. Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing your guys's versions of our Crafty Hour business today. I can't wait to see what Courtney's doing, and because I know she's gonna go full grunge. I saw her homework. She's using cheesecloth. Like, come on. We know it's gonna be good. So there's my little stars, and then I will just come in and do with my stickles, let it dry for 15 minutes or so, and then it's just gonna be all glitzy glammy just like this. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you, thank you. Just a reminder as well as we're ending our session that I do have some extra paper pads and some extra die cut pads. Not very many, but a really nice handful here. So if you were missing out on Crafty Hour kit because of our sellout, we still do have some of these. We just don't have the square Spellbinders label 15. So I do have some of those. That is $14.99 and that is $11.99. Now Courtney will be doing her Crafty Hour this evening, 5 Pacific time. I can't wait to see what she's doing. And then tomorrow morning we will be going live to do another Crafty Hour reveal, which I believe is Crafty Hour 70. if I'm not mistaken. Crafty Hour 70? Crafty Hour 70? That's crazy. And then also our next Crafty Hour where we're getting together will be Jen and Courtney. They will be doing Crafty Hour 69 on Thursday, August the 7th. So look forward to that as well. Thank you so much, everybody. This was an awesome session with everybody. Sorry about all the little internet blubs. Hopefully that when the video is uploaded, that will all be nice and smooth. Thanks so much, and we'll see everybody soon. Bye now.